How do I use AI to identify and attract my ideal clients? That's what we're talking about today. It's a question I get asked a lot and one that I could talk about until the sun goes down. So without further ado, let's get stuck straight in. Hello, I'm Colin Scotland. Welcome to Thrive and Serve, the podcast where we explore how being our most authentic self powerfully amplifies our impact. So take a deep breath with me. And let's dive in. Can AI help me to identify my ideal clients? Absolutely. Now, I've been a marketing coach for almost 10 years now, and I've worked in exactly this area, helping coaches, consultants, entrepreneurs, brands to really dive in and identify who their ideal clients are. And in marketing, we have a process of, it's called STP process, right? Segmentation, targeting, and positioning, where we research a market, a marketplace, a collection of people, and then we segment that market down into using different categories and factors into different segments. And then we target one of those specific segments in a market. It's a process inside of marketing that we're taught in academia, in college, and then we apply it then as we create marketing plans. So what does that mean for you as a coach, as an entrepreneur? Ultimately, the target, the audience that you go for, understanding that audience is critical, because it's the understanding of the audience that allows you to target them and position your brand, your solution as the ideal solution to their problem. So I've said this quite a lot. I'm going to say it again in case this is the first episode you've listened to, that marketing is the identification and satisfaction of needs profitably. So what is the need that people have around what it is that you do, and how do you satisfy that need? This is what it all boils down to when it comes to you identifying and getting more clients. So if we just track back a few years before I was immersed in this world of generative AI, I would do all of this work longhand. So I would do market research, I would survey the audience, I would do interviews, and I would document everything that I did. From that documentation would be a load of data that then I would sift through to identify like phrases that people used, and then the emotional attachments that are attached to those words, and how, you know, if a word comes up like frustrated a lot in the interviews, in the surveys, and then I would use various techniques to try and identify themes for what our audience is struggling with, what that need is, articulating that need. And so when it comes to identifying your ideal client, it's really about not the client themselves, really. It's about the need. It's about the need that is universal. This is where there is a bit of a misbelief, a misunderstanding in the world around how this works, because people think, I have to go after a very specific client, right? Like a 32-year-old mother of one who runs their own business doing X, Y, and Z. And it's not necessarily the case. It's the need that you're going after. The need is the universal, and that need can be emotion driven. It can be want driven. And so that can transcend that and not fit the box of the 32-year-old woman who runs her own business and is a single mom. There are different ways that we can identify our clients, different ways that we can classify. And in the traditional sense, it would be demographic. So age, sex, all of these kind of things to do with like where they live, geographic, and all of that stuff that are, honestly, when it comes to converting clients, pretty much useless. In the olden days, when we would do mass advertising, you take something out in the paper, remember that? Or the TV or the radio and things like that. It was all about reaching your audience en masse. So where are these people hanging out? And all of that stuff has become less and less relevant in the online world now. And what's become more and more relevant is our interests and our desires and the things that groove us, and our habits and stuff like that online, in the online space. What does this mean for you? Because you don't need to become an expert marketer. I've lived all of this stuff for years, right? You don't need to do this in order to be successful. All you need to appreciate and understand is, well, ask this question. What does my ideal client want? What are the emotions around what it is that I do? And what beliefs do they have around my solution, or my solution as a potential solution to their problem? There's a framework that I use quite a lot called the web analysis, and the W stands for wants, the E stands for emotions, and the B stands for beliefs. When you truly understand each of these, then you can begin to paint a picture of your ideal client. This is the theory behind it, right? The wants and desires, which addresses the need. So the need that is something that they're looking to get fulfilled, for which your product or service is the ideal solution, right? And then the feelings around this. So the feelings of before and after, the frustration they feel before they've used your service, the calm, blissful state of after they've used your service. What does that look like? What does that feel like, more importantly, for your ideal clients? So I use like look, sound, and feel. What does it look like? What does it sound like? What does it feel like? And then finally, the beliefs around your solution, or the solution that you offer that is similar to others in the market. If it's coaching, coaching's a great one, because there are many limiting beliefs and beliefs around coaching that can be ingrained in your target audience. Oh, coaching's a waste of time. So they have to believe that coaching is a great thing, right? Can you see? If I don't believe that coaching will help me, I'm never, ever going to buy a coaching program. So your understanding of that from the client's perspective is critical. Okay, so we talked a lot about our framework, and there are many, many frameworks. The web analysis is one of my favorites. It's not the only one. You can do a before and after. You can look at empathy mapping. And here's the cool thing. You don't need to know what these things are anymore, right? I've studied marketing for years, and I've practiced this stuff, and I've played with it longhand, long form. Now, all of that work that I would have done manually can be done in seconds with the help of AI. So with these frameworks, you can give AI the frameworks, and AI will generate information regarding and related to your ideal client. Based on its knowledge, it will suggest what those wants and desires are, what those emotions and feelings are, and what those beliefs and identifications are about the market, about the problem, and about others in the market and your solution in particular. AI will give you all of that information in a heartbeat. Where I would do surveys and get loads of data and then analyze the data and all of that. Now, the other way around is, of course, if you've got all of that data, so back in the day when I was doing all of that longhand, I would have survey data and all kinds of stuff and transcripts from interviews. So if you've got that stuff, even better, because then what you can do is you can feed that stuff into the AI, into ChatGPT or another LLM, large language model, Gemini, Claude, whichever one it is that you're using. ChatGPT is the de facto standard, so it's my go-to one that I would reference most of the time. But you can upload that data into ChatGPT, and it can do the analysis for you. There are online tools that can do lots of AI-driven data analysis. Infranodus is a really powerful one that has been magical in analyzing and visualizing data. So what are the emotional themes behind the language that our audience is using? AI can help identify that if you've got data. And if you've not, and you're just starting out into this world, like, who's my ideal client? AI can help with that too, just by feeding into it some of those frameworks that we've just been talking about. So tell me, what is the web analysis framework in marketing? Wants, emotions, and beliefs. Now use this framework to help me identify my ideal target audience. I am A. What are you? I help. Who do you help? To solve. What do you solve? By. And how do you solve it? So it's a very simple structure for giving AI a pattern. AI is a master of pattern recognition. So when you're giving it a pattern, it can produce magic results because it's got the pattern to start from. The other thing that it's really powerful at, and this is how it works and sounds so human, is there's a technical term called semantic vectors, right? And it essentially assigns numerical values to words that depict emotions and all of this kind of stuff, right? It's quite complicated, but essentially different words mean different things. So if I say tiny, small, minute, each of those words, although they're kind of similar to us, aren't they? They have assigned to them different semantic vectors, different values in this 3D world of the AI space where it's just creating these weights and values around language. And so what that means for us is what we put in entirely dictates what we get out. So I say this a lot: good in equals good out. The better quality inputs that you're able to give to the AI, the better quality outputs, because of the way that it's architected. So because of this, the semantic vectors and temperatures and tokenization and all kinds of stuff that we're not going to go into great detail in here, but bottom line, good in equals good out. So what does good in look like? Good in looks like patterns, and it looks like very clear, concise instruction. So if you just say, hey, ChatGPT, I'm a life coach, help me identify my target audience, ChatGPT, it doesn't know any better. It's just going to churn out a load of stuff that'll be random and not very helpful to you. If you say, hey, ChatGPT, I'm a life coach, I specialize in NLP, and I work mostly with single mompreneurs, right? Single moms who run their own business. And I work in the Western Hemisphere. We focus mostly on juggling of time. I'm a productivity specialist, and I use NLP techniques in my coaching program to help them overcome X, Y, Z. That was just me reeling an off-the-cuff example, but can you see the difference? Can you see how much more detailed that is to the first example of help me identify my ideal clients? So the difference in those two examples, that's the difference that good in makes. Because the second version is good in. The first version is not. The second version gives ChatGPT more context, more of a pattern to play with. So it doesn't have to just throw out anything and everything. It can be very specific. The more specific you can be in your instruction in the AI, the better quality those outputs are going to be. That's really, really important. So giving ChatGPT that kind of a pattern about you is your takeaway here, is to go and put that kind of detail into ChatGPT. Colin, I don't know what that detail is for me. I've got you, right? So work through finding out what that is first. In my ChatGPT mastery program, the first thing that we do is define your power positioning statement. I am A, I help B to do C with D. This then becomes the pattern that you give everything that you put into the AI. Every time you put this pattern in, either in the custom instructions in ChatGPT or at the start of the prompt of the instruction, because this gives it the essential context that it needs in order to produce amazing results. The results are night and day, because when we just say, hey, write me or create me my ideal client, I am an NLP coach, as opposed to the second version, and I can't remember it, so I'm not going to repeat it. You can rewind and listen. But that second version, it's like so on point. It's so on the, really detailed, really contextual. That's going to yield amazingly better results, because now we're pinpointing the exact person, the exact situation, and allowing us to really leverage the power of what this semantic vector, the tokenization, all of these things, the way how these things work, and how this generative AI creates this language, this human-like language, to help us in our thinking and our understanding of who we serve. Okay, so you've got your power positioning statement. You ask the AI to generate these frameworks of who you serve, how you serve them. So web analysis, wants, emotions, and beliefs is a good one. Empathy map is another really powerful one that I like to use. So what do they think? What do they feel? What do they see? And what do they do around your product or services? And I like to play with multiple ones of these, because each one has a different flavor, and it gives you a different sense and a different perspective on your ideal clients. And then you, as the human, can look at the results of all of these and make some conclusions, some summaries, get a real solid handle on what it is that's driving your ideal clients to work with you. Now, why is that important? Well, we started this episode, didn't we, saying how can I use AI to identify my ideal clients and attract more of them into my world, to buy more of my coaching program, digital products, whatever it is that you do. So let's extrapolate. Let's take this a stage further. We now know and understand who our ideal client is. We know what they want, what they desire. We know the emotional drivers that are causing them to look for a solution, hopefully our solution, right? And so then with that, what next? Well, this is where the whole world of content marketing comes in, because now when I'm looking for that solution, I want to see you as one of the potential options for me. How do I do that? This is where marketing comes in, right? So this is where you creating what I call lighthouse content acts as that lighthouse in the world, shining to those little boats in the sea to guide them towards safety, towards your solution. So this content is in the world. If people search like, oh, how do I write an email nurture sequence? How do I get time freedom as an entrepreneur? Like, go and put these things into Google, and you'll see that my website comes up at or near the top of the search results, acting as that lighthouse to people. So then when they are looking for that solution, my products and services are part of the mix. Can you see? So this is not, and I repeat this, like I'll underline it like boldface, this is not about posting repeatedly on social media. This is about you creating what I call content with intent. Content that helps and supports and facilitates the decision to buy what it is that you do, what you're offering, to buy your solution. So your content is very intentional. What you put out into the world supports the decision to buy. Not only that, it speaks directly to those wants, those emotions, and those beliefs. Because in doing so, you do two things. You create what's called an emotional connection, a resonance with your ideal clients, and you move them along in their transformation by helping them through the content. So these mompreneurs are looking to juggle time and kids and bills and houses and all of this and business. And so, hey, I've got this Notion time tracker that'll save you at least 1.5 hours every single day. What will you do with that 1.5 hours? Download the tracker. Here it is. Go on and just gift yourself an hour and a half of time to go and spend some more time with your kids, or to get that campaign, that new product out into the world. Imagine, this is hypothetical, imagine that content as that hypothetical mompreneur that we were talking about before, that now is out into the world. And so these mompreneurs that are juggling with time and struggling with all of that, they find that content, they consume that content, and they are now beginning to form that connection between the solution of the person that created that content and it being the ideal thing for them to get where they want to be. So can you see the pathway we're creating here? Hopefully you can begin to see that. And your goal here is really, really simple. You use AI to get the information. Then you use AI to create the lighthouse content, the content that's going to act as that beacon in the world for you, for what you do, for your products and your services. And that, my friend, is how you use AI to firstly identify, and then secondly, to attract more of your ideal clients. Go and give it a try. Let me know how it works for you. Thank you for joining me today on Thrive and Serve. I hope you found this content helpful. If you did, I would really appreciate you sharing this content with someone who needs to hear it. And go and let your unique light shine in the world through that lighthouse content in the way only you can. And I look forward to seeing you next time.